Oh my god! Ill-prepared as ever. We're nearly late to the party. We're bloody late starting up anyway. Hello everybody. Welcome to another live stream. Hope you can hear me. Give us a sound check, David. Sound off in the back.
Hi, I think everybody can hear me, but remains to be seen.
So, hello everybody. Welcome to another Thursday night live stream. I will apologise if I am not quite my normal vivacious self, as I've had a week from bloody hell at work with my right hand person off. It's been a bit chaotic, but bless them, the girls who have been in have stepped up, and we've managed to make do by losing, you know, even though we've lost our full-timer, most experienced member of staff. We're getting there, but whew, it's draining. Real world shit. So yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just fucking melting because it's about 1 billion degrees Celsius in the UK.
Yeah. You can add your own verb there, cheese me. My right hand person off. Yeah.
Yeah, toss.
Use your left hand.
You are looking for.
Oh dear. So yeah. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live stream.
Actually, that is a point because you are left-handed. So is that like a backhanded compliment?
I am indeed a lefty. I'm a left, cuddy-handed, as my old man used to say. Well, let's. I don't really know what to say. Let's start off by giving everybody a shout out in the chat. Hello to we have Hans Grabber, also known as Paul from Pandyman. Good evening, sir. He says he's looking forward to the chat. Hopefully we won't disappoint. It's going to be a bit of a waffle, but you know, cracking. You know, we will do the best. Hello to Darren, stroke Demon Sub. We've got Spam there, although you can see her in the shot there. She's just behind David. That's David's other half. Darren gets in there quick. He's obviously, this is a hobby live stream.
But he's not hobbying. What is going on, Darren?
Yeah, we're going to be hobbying. Darren's letting us down. He's saying he's no hobby this evening, sorting out all his sci-fi minis and deciding which ones to use as various ratios. Oh, well, that's fine. That's, mate, having collected collectible card games for years, an evening just sorting shit out, that counts as hobby. Okay? Don't do yourself down. Paul, no hobby for him, but that, you know, Paul, just let him side down, son. Darren says his shopping list has grown. Hello to Cheese Me. Hello to... Oh, and that's all we've got. We've got a quiet one tonight. Was it too hot? Where is everyone?
Light.
Everybody's off doing something more important than fucking sitting watching us prattle about on the internet. Okay, right.
Watch them stumble in later.
For those who will be catching us later, because I'm sure they will, as they're not here right now. We will be following our too hot thing. You tell me about it, mate. We'll be following our usual format, so David and I will first of all show you what we're going to be hobbying on tonight. I'm going to take a break from the terrain thing, because although I've got bits and pieces to do, I wanted to set up some airbrushing, and I haven't got round to it. So I'm going to take a bit of a left swerve, and to frankly, I could do with some input on colour palettes. So I'm going to probably be painting some non-terrain miniatures tonight. So we'll tell you about that, and then we will discuss our gaming club that we were at Monday night, and we've got a little bonus game to throw in, because we have one of our Saturday get-togethers.
We did have a Saturday get-together.
Which reminds me, I need to queue up those pictures.
Because you took some.
Yeah, I did take a couple of pickies. I'll put them there. So,
then a very good introductory game of Carnivale.
Yes. So then,
spoiler there, boys and girls.
We've got some YouTube-y stuff to share. And
well, it's more than just the YouTube. We've got the internet to bring to you tonight.
And yeah,
all of it.
Iraqi. Yeah, do you know what? We were talking about Mr. Iraqi Sand and Russian Uniform earlier. I don't know. Has Ewok's obviously got himself another commitment for Thursdays, because it's been a while since we've seen him.
It's been a while.
So, Oh, actually, that reminds me. There's another thing I want to queue up. Let me see if I can find our pictures from Saturday.
Saturday.
I really do need to empty this folder. Those are the two, I think.
Have you managed to
Ah.
sort out your Google Drive yet, sir?
No, I've a fuck, mate. I just don't have time to do anything here. Yeah, everybody misses Ewok, bless him. Ewok, come back. We love you. So yeah. Then after we finish prattling on about that, around 9 o'clock-ish, we'll be tackling our main topic. And what we're going to do, I don't think we've done it before, so we're going to tackle the concept of the social contract, which is a sort of phrase that gets bandied around in all sorts of hobby gaming, board gaming, role-playing games, and miniature war games.
Wargaming.
And we'll talk about, well, what do we mean by the social contract, and all of those little
contract.
Yeah, all those little things, those little behaviours and habits and considerations that make up the social contract, this nebulous thing that we all talk about in the various forums and chat threads and that sort of thing. So, do you want to go first with painting, sir, and showing everybody what you're working on?
Yes, I can do.
Come
on then. Come on down to the table.
Da da da.
So
yeah, well, do you know what? I've got a fan running in the room. It's way over in the corner, but the dogs need it because it's so hot, Paul. So yeah, I definitely. Oh, dehumidifier.
We are working on Freya.
Yeah, that's looking absolutely banging, mate. That's looking absolutely banging. I like the leathers. Yeah, that's looking really good. To be fair, that gloss effect, is that just a choice of paint or is it still wet?
It's wet, sir.
That looks good. You might be worth going back in with the gloss varnish, you know, because that patent leather look really gives it a contrast to the rest of the miniature.
The rest of it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, cheese.
So now I've got to do the sword handle tip. I've got to do the leather strapping. There's some bits and pieces on there. For some reason, he's got a plant growing up his right leg and some leaves.
Okay,
so I've got to pick them out and a couple of bits on his necklace and do his hair, and then he's done.
What hair colour are we going with?
And then blonde, I think.
Okay.
And then this, boys and girls at home, is Scardy.
So and these are miniatures from your Mythic Battles Ragnarok game, yeah?
Ragnarok, yeah. Done a skin. Cape has just had a contrast. I need to highlight it and do it. I tell you what I have found this week, though, that I'm super fucking happy about. I don't know if it comes out really well here. This metal. We're going to have a little bit of a discussion about this.
We are, mate.
Because this shit's from TT Combat, and it is baller as fuck.
Did you use that on the braces there as well?
Yes, okay. I did. One coat coverage.
We're gonna
over a zenithal, no underpainting.
To be fair, I think the Monolith that does these big board games that are absolutely loused out with miniatures, each iteration or each miniature board game that they do just seems to get better and better and better. So obviously I've got the Mythic Battles Pantheon, which was the big game before. I think the Ragnarok minis do look a lot crisper. But considering they're mass-produced PVC, they're very good, aren't they, mate?
Yes, it is good, cheese me.
And I'm assuming they've done the same as looking at that massive spear, is it that Freya's got? I'm assuming they've got like a separate hard plastic for the spears. Because it's not...
No, it is PVC. It's just slightly less flexible.
Because I know that when they did the...
it's slightly less flexible than a hair.
Okay, yeah, because when they did the Pantheon ones, a lot of the big gods and that, they had separate weapons that were glued in as part of the assembly. But Cheesy says, sorry, yes. Cheesy, you'll have to pardon our Englishisms. Baller as fuck is indeed good.
And then Spam is currently working on a Hosses. Pass me the Hoss.
This is the Targaryens, well, more specifically the Dothraki screamers from A Song of Ice and
Spam is
Fire.
currently based in Khal Drogo.
I do like that red. That's very nice. Is that your...
It's not red, it's cavalry brown.
Cavalry... Where's red? Very good. That's young man speak. Yeah, well said, Cheese Me. It is indeed young man speak. So yeah, very good. I tell you what, mate.
Steve.
I tell you what, mate. It's good. You definitely don't disappoint. I know you do the hard mode painting. You really go for it when you go for it, and you got some fantastic models there. I'm just
so happy with the green. How the greens come out is amazing.
Yeah, you've done a cracking job on it. The flesh tones have come out really good as well. Cheesy says
at least someone got some nuts.
What? Anyway, so what am I going to be doing? Well, a while ago, I finally got around to starting my first edition. Why is my phone?
It's not your phone.
I finally got round to starting. Just bear with me, everybody. I finally got round to starting my first edition Wild West Exodus box set.
Finally catching up with the party.
Yeah, so some might say a little bit late. I don't know what version of Wild West Exodus we're on now. Probably
V3.
Third edition, something like that. But so I've painted my lawman. I'll show everybody. So I've painted my rifleman. And I've painted the guys with the 2 handguns. So I'm calling these basically done. You guys, it's all a bit dark. Let me see if I can slide across so I'm in the light.
Put some light on the situation.
Ah, that's better. Right. Motion sickness, everybody. There we go. That's a bit better. So, yeah, I'm calling these done. It's basically just base coats and a bit of Nuln Oil instead of Agrax because I wanted to see because obviously it's quite a steampunky game, and I wanted to go, quite heavy grime and dark for the look. So, oh, sorry guys, sorry. Yes.
You haven't got your fucking camera on.
Yeah, I tell you, I expect chaos tonight. I am so tired I could fall asleep literally just fucking sitting here. The heat doesn't help. Yeah, sorry guys. Hello Rich, good to see you, mate.
Evening, Rich.
So yes, we've got essentially we've got like a blue tunic, we've got like a blue grey.
Hell, that is very blue compared to the mini you showed me at the weekend.
This is one of the minis that I showed you. It's just the lighting, mate. It's the fact that it's under my painting lights, not the natural light outside. To be fair, these miniatures are more work than they look because the fucking strapping, all the detail painting takes forever.
To be fair though, I've found that with my Wild West Exodus, like this bitch. She's got little petticoat, fucking muscles and everything, and it's just a twat.
When I started the miniatures, I thought, I'll do all the bullet heads and bullet bases and the belts and stuff, and then eventually I was like, no, I ain't fucking doing that. It's like there is enough. I mean, as it is, there's rivets and shit everywhere. You can see they've got brass buttons, badges, buckles on the fucking holsters and the belts. It's like, oh my god. So anyway, I've painted them. They just need basing. But I've got the 2 characters from the Lawmen first edition starter set. Now, I've done a couple...
What 2 characters were they?
I think one is Doc Holliday, and I can't remember
Name sounds familiar.
I can't remember who the other is. If somebody wants to do a quick Google foo and look up Wild West Exodus first edition starter set and tell me who are the 2 characters for the Lawmen in there,
Gunfight at the Red Oak, was it?
No, it's before all of that. It's literally, it was called the Wild West Extra Start Set, I think. I don't think it had a subtitle. But anyway, we've got the guy sort of kneeling down, or squatting down, firing his pistol, and he's got a great big sort of like
Wyatt Earp, wasn't it?
Oh, could be Wyatt Earp. Yeah, could be Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. That makes sense. So yeah, we've got this guy now, and what I really want to do is get some ideas on color palettes, guys. What are we thinking? Any suggestions? Throw them in the chat. So, I've used the blue and the blue-grey to unify them with the rest of the warband, but obviously I do want them to have a bit of an independent look. So now I've done some tie-in colours. I want to go in with something a bit different. I was thinking maybe go with oranges, because obviously they would go well with the blues for one of them.
What about red leather?
Yeah, that's you know, oranges or orangey browns. And then I'm not sure. No, we're not doing Santa colours. Fuck off. Yeah, Demon says red leather and tan. Yeah. Hot pink. No, cheese me. Stop.
You can speak up.
Stop. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be painting tonight. Not very.
No painting comp from you though.
I've got the weekend. I'll phone something in. It's such a tricky topic, day and night. I've looked at my Mythic Battles Pantheon. I've looked at Batman, the Gotham City Chronicles. I've looked at what else did I look at? I had a look at Big Trouble in Little China, Assassin's Creed, and I couldn't really find any of my board games that gave me either a day-night miniature that's got the light dark side thing going on.
Could you do Two-Face from Batman?
That's a shout.
Oh, have I just come in with the fucking ball?
That is a shout. Oh my god, yeah, and that is a miniature I could paint in a couple of days over the weekend. Yeah, that is a shout. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'll dig out Two-Face. Because no, well done, mate. Yeah, so David solved it. Oh, what a ledge. So yeah.
Why is it that I always solve your painting comps?
Cracking. Now then, Dracula in the Sun. What could I do? Like the Bilbo wearing the rings?
Hang on a minute. I think I've got a Dracula in the Sun mini. Let me see if I can find it. Bear with.
I was thinking I've got immediately. That's actually quite genius. I was thinking we could do.
I found him. He's there.
That's exactly what I was going to do. I was going to say, well, we could do a variation. You know, everybody does the Bilbo wearing the one ring, and they just literally do the footprints in the mud, and it's just like a base. Yeah. I could do a pile of ash just on a base with some cotton wool sort of like tufts on it. Smoking ash, Dracula in the Sun. Yeah. Do you know what? That could be a plan B. Yeah, I like it. I like where we're going with that. Great idea, guys. Right, okay. So yeah, before I get rid of my camera, I just want to show off one other thing. I was going to get it running, but I couldn't be asked to sheet down last night after I did.
Let's have a look at this.
After I did the thumbnail and everything. So I have talked about my problems with my and it's fine for what it is. So I am still using my very first baby's first compressor. Ignore the tank. That's a decoration that we never quite got working.
What you mean is David lost the feed pipe for it.
David had this idea of retrofitting this old tank from another air compressor to my main one. But we never quite got it there. So I'm still on my first I think this was about 80 quid off Amazon. One of
Where
these
would
cheap
bronze
Chinese
go?
compressor and airbrush kits that you get. I must have bought this, what, 5 years ago? 6, maybe more.
Haven't you had that the same sort? Because I had a compressor with a tank, and I bought it at a very similar time that you did. I think I bought mine just before you bought that one.
I think I know Ross
And
bought.
I'd gone through a compressor because it seized on me, and then I bought a second one.
In my mind, I can't remember whether I got it pre-Scotland or whether Ross bought me it.
Yes, you had it pre-Scotland.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a very long time that I've had it. Oh, I like the sound of that, Darren. And a nice sci-fi samurai mini, liking it.
Oh, speaking of which, boys
Anyway,
and girls,
let's not get derailed. We'll come back to that.
No. While I'm filling, while you get stuff ready.
Right, well, I'm
Has
ready.
anybody been near Corvus's Instagram this week and seen the new JSA tag?
Oh, okay, yeah, good shout.
Shit's
Do you know
good.
what, actually? Where did you send me that? Did you send me that on Messenger?
Instagram.
Instagimp. Oh, okay, right, okay.
I think I did. Let me go have a look.
I might Google.
You do you.
I might Google it and break the stream. So that
You
we
do
can...
you.
Anyway, obviously it's compressor, perfectly good. It does cut out if you run it long and hard doing like if I do massive terrain.
You're not
like
helping your case, mate.
the last time it packed up due to overheating was when I was doing my kill team terrain, priming everything black. But other than if you're running it like full whack for like an hour, it's perfectly good for things like priming. It's absolutely shit for anything where you need a degree of control because it's tankless. So even if you manage to use the crappy little sort of bleed valve to set the PSI flowing at about 25, as soon as you shut the airflow off, it racks right up to the cutout. So when you press the button, the first blast is like 60 PSI and then it bombs down to 25. So it gives you absolutely no fine control.
Let me lean.
My wife was struggling for birthday ideas, so I have upgraded to a Sparmax. Now let me get this right. I think it's a TC610H. So
what's that when it's at home?
Well, number one, it's fucking heavy. It's a really attractive looking compressor though, because it's got like an all over black steel shield, keeping everything protected. It is a little bit noisier than my cheap Chinese reliable, but it does have a 4-litre tank, which will run for nearly 30 seconds before it needs to repressurize. It was about 250 quid. So obviously a significant price increase from my starter compressor. But it's the Sparmax, yeah, that's right, Cheese Me. It's got 2 outputs. Sadly, they're not separate. They haven't got separate regulators. So both your outputs run at the same PSI. But it does have to if you want to have 2 airbrushes permanently connected. Maybe with different needle arrays or whatever. It's got built-in airbrush holsters on the top, or it's little plastic ones that you can insert on the top to actually put your airbrushes in when they're not in use. The regulator's really got some fantastic fine control on it. It goes up to 60 psi, and yeah, all different colours, Paul. Yeah, that's another good point. To be fair, the only upgrade, the next one up in the Sparmax range has separate regulators, so you can run the 2 separate airbrush channels at different PSIs simultaneously, so you can airbrush with a friend and have completely independent control. But that was not something I wanted, and for an extra, I think it was an extra 40 odd quid. It was like, I don't really need that. All I wanted was number one, an airbrush with a tank, and a really high quality regulator. Again, I can set this really finely and then lock it down. The actual, I don't know what the technical term is, but the fluctuation, obviously when you shut off the air supply on your brush, you do get a little bit of peaking on the flow rate, but it literally oscillates by only 3 to 5 psi, if that. So I've got way more control and even flow when I'm actually trying to do close or fine work. So it's now a case of trying to practice with it and basically get the muscle memory and the finger control, trigger control, so I can do things other than just prime and base coat with it. But yeah, that's my new toy. So I'll be giving you all some updates in the next few weeks. Rich says I got one for painting my car. What's that, a Sparmax, mate?
No, 100-litre one.
Yeah.
So he's got a big industrial one.
Yeah, no, exactly, cheese me. I mean, as a set, when you're upgrading, you've got to upgrade. You know, there would be no point me buying, a cheap Chinese airbrush with a tank and still a shit regulator. And do you know what I mean? It's like, if you're going to upgrade, you work out what it is you want and then look at the reviews. And again, I'm one of these people, I canvassed all the tech reviews, all the airbrush review sites. I looked at all the options. And
I mean, again, look at me with my painting light that Spam got me for my birthday.
Yeah.
So it's massively good.
Somehow managed to
Thank
make a mess of that. Just straighten my sign up because that's all got on the wonk. So yeah, as I say, I could have spent more money. Some of the airbrush compressors out there are insane money. But
they are for what they are.
I think what I've got is a significant enough upgrade that I'm going to be able to see some benefits for my airbrushing. I've already got quite a good brush. I'm really happy with my Badger Patriot. The only thing I would like to get is the needle set, so that I can cover a lot. I can have a wider range of needle fittings to it, because at the moment it's only got 2, and I think you can get more for it. But other than that, I'm quite happy with my airbrush. So now the compressor's fixed. Dee-dee! Excelente, Presidente. So, shall we tell everybody about our games then? Oh.
We can do.
Just let me adjust this. What the hell is going on here?
Awesome. That's just needing aggregates now. Darren's never used an airbrush. What?
To be fair, do you know what? I am an airbrush is not an essential tool. The more I've sort of like used mine.
I'm gonna hard counter that. It is in the UK for base coating and priming.
Yeah, I would still say
because if you use
essential.
if you're using rattle cans, saying
they're nice. It's a nice to have. It's not an essential, not by any stretch, mate. Would be my take on it. Don't get me wrong. I think when you have one, you'll find uses for it, and it does make some of the things that you want to do so much easier. But is it a must-have? No, not at all. So yeah, don't worry about it, Darren. Do you know what? If you ever feel the need to get one, because again, and I would always say the same to anybody, if you're thinking of breaking into airbrushing, buy one of the cheap all-in-one kits. You can find them all over the place, eBay and Amazon and various other crappy little places. Ultimately you'll decide, I don't want to be asked with this, and you've spent like under £100. You've given it a try. Like David says, if nothing else, here in the UK, you've got a tool that you can use for priming all year round. You just need to buy yourself a respirator and have somewhere that you can spray it without sort of like putting fucking dust all over the house. That's if you don't have an extractor and that. But again, you don't need all that stuff. as long as you've got a mask for personal protection, because you don't want to be breathing the airbrush painting. I use mine indoors in the normal house all the time. I use that cheap plastic sheeting that you'd use for decorating. There you go. I use that. I slap that down over wherever I'm spraying, so any back spray gets caught by this. I make sure all the windows are open, and you do get a little bit of dust, but it's no worse than if you've got a coal fire running in your bloody house or anything like that. Just hoover it up. It's fine. Like I say, personal protection is the most important thing. Rich says I got a small one for airbrushing. Found it at Paul when he used a big one. I also sprayed the kitchen cabinets. Yeah, you're a different level of airbrushing, mate. So let's get on to our games now. I don't have any pictures of Monday night, but let's talk about Saturday night first.
Saturday, oh my god!
Oh my days!
Fucking hell. Me, Paul, and Spam played Carnivale. It was Spam's first game of Carnivale. We played an attacker-defender scenario, so it was me and Spam versus Paul with his Strigoi. Me and Spam both bought 45 ducats each. Paul bought 90 ducats, but fuck, this game was good, wasn't it, Ginge? So good.
Yeah. Obviously, the only the number one, the scenario that we played was a 3-player scenario out of the Blood on the Water release, wasn't it, mate? And the scenario itself, do you know what, the more Carnivale we played, the thought that's gone into a threesome.
Scenarios.
Oh my god. Cheese me.
You're getting roasted in chat, babe.
Very enjoyable threesome.
Yeah.
I am addicted. I will be using Paul's skills more often.
The table, thanks for the compliments on the table, guys. It's work in progress. We've got probably about 50% painted, maybe not even that.
Something like that.
So we've still got work to do. But I tell you what, there's so many things to say about Carnivale. The first thing I was saying is, the more Carnivale we play, the more different scenarios we play, the more Carnivale just shines as a game. The scenarios.
The rule book is dog shit, but the game itself is amazing.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's the only thing that I would roundly criticise. Well, no, there are two things that I would criticise. First is the rulebook. The rulebook for Carnivale is fucking terrible. The layout's all over the fucking place. You can't find anything. It doesn't have an index. It's not intuitive in any way. And even though they've redone it in the Blood on the Water supplement with the extra terrain rules and the reactions, it's still got a shit layout. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is a fair criticism. The other thing is, we've bought a fair few resin models from TT Combat now, and their QC's a little. I've had some resins from them that were frankly terrible.
All the resins I've had from them have been fine, and I've got 4 boxes worth.
I don't know if I was just unlucky.
I think you were unlucky.
But it wasn't stuff that I couldn't fix with a little bit of Vallejo putty and some patience, and the models painted up lovely. Do you know what I mean? It was all fixable in the long run. It just made hard work of an easy job. But this was such a good game. This was the best game of Carnivale we've had, wasn't it, mate?
Definitely.
And it was so close.
So, boys and girls, I will be happy to report that Spam has decided on what Carnivale minis she is buying. She's buying a shit ton of hookers. We have looked at the rules for them, and they look a bit horrible. So, watch this space.
Yeah. I mean that's the other thing about Carnivale, the variety. I mean, literally, I'm running vampires and Dracula. David's running sort of like mad Venetian
jackets,
Venetian doctors with fucking laser guns, and then Sam looks like she's going to be basically taking hookers with pistols and knives. So
hookers and a witch.
Yeah, it's like the models.
Oh, and those bloodied miniatures, which are like my madmen in straitjackets, but she just self-harms them and cuts them to death.
Nice.
Which look really nice.
But the other thing that I think is fair to say about Carnivale, and people often say that of Infinity, don't they? They say the third player in Infinity is the table.
Yes.
And do you know what? That in a lot of ways that applies to Carnivale.
Yeah, so this was the first time we've played on a 2x4, because usually we're playing on 2x2 square or 3x3 square. This we played on a 2x4. The aim of the game was for me and Sam at the front of this picture to get to within 8 inches of the other short table edge, not be in combat with Paul. We scored 2 VP per mini. Paul's objective was to kill as many people as he can. He scores a VP per mini, and then he has 3 agenda cards to score.
Yeah.
So it was a really good, really close game, because it was only the mad dashes at the end that secured the victory for me and Sam.
Yeah, literally. I think I had like a 1 or 2 point lead right up until turn 7, and you just managed to get an extra model over the line, didn't you? And won by a point. Yeah. It's got so many. I mean, obviously, my vampires do a lot of flying, so I don't use a lot of the movement shenanigans where you can leap and jump.
And every time I put climbing tools on my doctors, go, yeah, let's go to the roof. Oh, wait a minute. There's fucking vampires up there. Let's not go to the roof.
The roof is where we hunt. But yeah, and it's number one, the TT combat. Honestly, if the TT Combat Carnivale range was pre-coloured, I would have bought it. I would already own it, all of it. The only thing that stops me from just binging and buying literally everything they make for it is it's such a... Again, it's the kind of MDF terrain that to do it justice, you can't just spray it grey and dry brush it. Because it's all sort of like weird Renaissance architecture with details around the windows and cornicing and stuff like that. So you've got to put the hours in, and it is a lot of work. But I mean, the fact that you've got water built into the table as well, so that allows you to use. You've got jetties and piers there from Iron Gate scenery, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got jetties and piers.
Ladders from Iron Gate.
Yeah, we've both bought a range of market stalls and that, so that we can do some real Assassin's Creed-y vignettes built into the middle of our tables. The whole core range of terrain from TT Combat with the bridges and things is just amazing. Like
one thing I think TT don't really do enough of is the smaller scatter stuff.
Definitely.
Little crates, the market stalls and things. If they did a couple of sprees of that shit, we would hoover it up.
Yeah, although having said that, so I think, yeah, there are so many people though doing good shit. I mean, I bought some stuff from Bad Squidoo, didn't I? Like their harbour and dockside street scatter. You can get crates, barrels, carts from just about anywhere. It is the hole in the range that TT Combat don't cater for, but it's not a mega stress. You can get that shit from other people. There are lots of very competent model makers in the space, aren't there, mate?
Yes.
And again, the water mats, they're so easy to get now. The observant among you will notice that we are recycling my Armada one. You can, from the little compass roundel, you can just see in the bottom corner. But I mean, even if you don't have one for Armada, you can get water mats from all of the big companies, for not a lot of money as well. So yeah,
Not a
that was
lot of money,
Saturday
well.
night's game. Awesome game of Carnivale. If you haven't checked out Carnivale yet, I
What are you doing?
it's got to be a highly recommended. Just
It is a good game.
It is an investment. The terrain is very specific. The rule set isn't the most user friendly, but
Look past the rules.
Yeah, it's definitely not your first game. If you're new to wargaming and you're watching this on YouTube, don't do Carnivale as your first game. There is a lot going on. But I tell you what, if you are already a wargamer and you haven't tried it, give it a try. It's a legend of a game. It really is. So yeah, Monday night, mate.
Frostgrave campaign game.
We continued with our Red King campaign. Didn't get any pictures, but that's good because then you won't be able to mock me for how everything was completely unpainted.
Or how badly you and Rick do in comparison to me.
So yeah, if you're into Frostgrave and have bought the Red King campaign supplement but haven't yet played it, you'll notice right at the very beginning. Hello, Crispin. Good to see you, sir.
Evening, Crispin.
You'll notice at the beginning of the Red King campaign book that it says ideal for advanced level warbands or something like that. Let me get it and show everybody. So yes.
If you want it.
So this is what we're currently playing through. I think there are 12 different scenarios as one massive linked 3-act campaign. With basically every crazy batshit thing that you can think of in there. It says that it's suited more to high-level warbands. Just in case you're wondering, it isn't fucking joking.
Nope.
We
went in level 0 and we are having major regrets.
Yeah, we are getting absolutely ruffle stomped by this SOB. But we're playing it basically fully co-op. For more details, you can see our previous streams where we discussed how Frostgrave for us is really, really shining as a cooperative style game and really taking the competitive aspect and just setting it to one side. And that's the beauty of this, actually. Here's a counterpoint to the you need to be like a level 20 wizard to start playing this with your mate. If you are low level, it will force you to be co-op because you will not have a fucking chance unless you play as a team to try and beat the bad guys. You won't. You honestly will do nothing. You'll get murdered every adventure, every scenario. But yeah, we're really enjoying this. Another one under our belt. So the scenario we played was essentially we had all of our warbands started invisible. We had to go up and grab the chest. As soon as we grabbed the chests or attacked anything, we became visible. And we had to basically get some treasure.
Leave through doors in the corner.
Get some treasure and then leg it off the map before getting butchered, while there were these 3 portals to a nether realm. And these beings called Hruts were teleporting in each turn. And the monsters have got every special rule and the kitchen sinks stapled to them.
They're the Hruts can see your invisible spellcasters because fuck you.
No, I didn't. Jugs, is that the podcast with Peachy and that young gal who does the Goblin? Left Games Workshop recently. I'm sure it is, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I haven't seen that. I haven't watched any of their podcasts actually. Although, do they come recommended? To be honest, if they've had Louise Sugden, thank you. Because they call her Suggs, don't they? So I imagine that's why it's got that name. Yeah, okay. Hiya, Toros. No, do you know what? I
Evening, Taurus.
haven't. I will actually now though dig that out. I really would like to see that. I do like Joseph as a games designer. Paul says I don't watch them because they are meanies. Is there a personal issue there, Paul?
Where did they touch you?
Right, okay, so let's get rid of that.
Let's do the news because we've only got 10 minutes. Go gadget news boy.
Right, okay, so come on then. Now, do you want me to get the salt shaker on?
Why?
Because you were gonna get salty, aren't you, about the first news item?
What's the first news item?
Your
Loot?
Arkham miniatures.
No, because I can go buy them today. They've released them today.
Oh.
I'm less salty now.
So the salt was just when you were ranting the other night. Well,
the salt.
You could tell it.
I'm sorry, but if you're gonna tease Arkham Horror miniatures and how good they are, and you make a 45 fucking minute video on how good these 3D printed miniatures are with all your teasers and everything in, please let people buy them the day that you've teased them and released them. Don't turn around and go, well, you can have them in 24 hours time. I'm a creature of impulse. I need them now.
See, I should have put the salt on. I should have done it. So go on then. Tell everybody all about this thing from Loot Studios.
For those that do or don't know, make 3D printed make STLs for 3D printing. They have a very particular realistic art style. They have paired up with Asmodee to do these miniatures for the Arkham Horror role-playing game. So they are 45 or 42 millimeters, so they're not 32 annoyingly. But fuck me, are they good. They look amazing. They look like the art. They are really, really nice. If you scroll down a bit out of the Feast for Ghouls set pool and go to the Yellow King expansion, you can see Ashcan Pete, Calvin Wright, and Duke the dog.
This is pretty fucking amazing. Oh my god.
I know, right? I know, right?
Calvin, Father Mateo, Komani. I mean, to be honest, yeah. I'm if I had a 3D printer, I'd be all over it.
They have got an introductory offer at the moment, which is if you buy everything, all 3 bundles is $79, or it's $30 a set.
Oh my god, they even do like terrain, the TikTok club entrance.
Yes, and busts, and there's a lot of stuff that they do. I am strongly considering getting it.
Okay. Yeah.
I love me some Arkham.
So you're not convinced enough. You're not definitely in.
Not definitely in, and my main drawback is the scale. But just thinking,
couldn't you rescale them?
Yes, I can, but then I've got to go resupport, and that's time and effort. They're 42. They're 42 mil. But I'm thinking of pimping my board game and doing the prints for the what's it called? Prints for the Arkham Horror board game.
Yeah.
Just for the character players, for like Silas Marsh, Ashcan, Stella. Because don't get me wrong, the standees are nice.
Yeah.
But miniatures are nicer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. So if you purchase all 3 bundles, you get 18 unique models.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some tasty, spicy bits.
And
there.
the offer expires in 3 days.
Yes, 3 days and 3 hours. As per the top of the screen.
God. It is tempting. Do you know what? It is tempting.
Thing is, they're just really nice.
Well, Toro says, have David and Paul had an intervention this week?
The carer seems to be here. Fucking harsh.
I love that Spam's described as the carer. That's fucking genius. Yes,
I
mate.
mean, boys and girls, you missed just before I went live on stream. I picked up my retarder medium and held it up to my missus and went, "This is you." It took her a good minute to get it.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, mate. The problem is like, for me, it's the card game. Now, the character models that I could use in place of the little cards that you move around the locations, that would be super cool. The issue is, obviously, you've got to mark them as activated in some way. I don't quite know whether you do that laying them down or what, but it might...
Stupid idea. Why don't you take the card that you'd usually shuffle around the board and put it on your player mat and then just
turn it over?
Like,
yeah.
it like, what's it called?
Yeah, we could do that. I mean,
MTG.
again, we could have the miniatures to move around on there instead of the actual cards for the monsters as well. It's so tempting.
My only concern I have is if this becomes a regular thing, how much money am I going to spend at loot?
Yeah, I was wondering whether we should go
they're
halves.
Not the cheapest.
The thing is, if we go halves, you still get then the ball ache of printing everything, haven't you?
I'll tell you what, though, we could go halves. I can just throw you all my shit to paint, and then you can paint my shit while you're at
it. You do the printing, I do the painting.
Yeah.
Do you know what? That sounds like a deal, actually. That sounds like a deal might be. That sounds like a deal might be in the offing there. I'd be up for that.
Freya is nearly finished.
Tauros is trying to tempt us with Heroes of Arnhem and an Empress Miniatures Kickstarter.
The Empress Miniatures stuff is nice, but the biggest problem I have with it is the price point versus a Bolt Action Army. Cheese me, I would never sell 3D printed miniatures. I can't even print enough quickly enough for me. That's why I've still got to buy a Saturn Ultra.
Yeah, Cheese me don't know you too well, do he? But yeah, no, I think that's fair.
Where's my box? Hang on. Let me just look around that shot.
I mean,
so I started printing a full spectrum dominance army. There we go.
Yeah.
Most of a full spectrum armaments. Full spectrum dominance army just tossed in a box. I've still got the other half to do, which is the enlisted.
And how long's that taking?
Oh. It's been there for over a month.
Tauros there, want to buy London Bridge, Paul?
Oh. Hurry up with the news, because then I'm going to have a bitch and a moan about reality and 3D printers.
I'd forgotten about that. Right, here's one. Here's a news item that's not really news. So we're doing a bit of a weird thing here. TT Combat Paints. Is it just me, or did these things fly under the fucking radar? I think about a year ago, TT Combat kickstarted a paint range.
Didn't we complain that they kickstarted a paint range and then they bought a second expansion to it out, and we bitched and moaned on stream and went, why are they doing this? Because every man and his dog makes paints. What the fuck, TT?
Yeah, I think to be fair, when we did mention it, we were like, oh, there's another company doing paints, and I wonder if that's the issue. But I tell you what, you picked up a couple almost on impulse, didn't you, at UKGE?
Yeah, so I was at UKGE. I said to Paul, they're about the same price as what we're paying for Vallejo.
Yeah,
Paul told me on the way down to Games Expo that Vallejo are reformulating. And on that note, I have seen some people bitching and moaning that the reformulations of like Flat Flesh are nothing like the originals. So somebody's halfway through a paint job and now got to base coat fucking everything because it doesn't match.
What's that for?
Flat Flesh.
Oh, for the model colour.
In Vallejo.
Yeah.
With the reformulation.
So, to come back to TT Combat, though, you bought...
But no, what I was about to say was, I bought Resistance Rust because I have their rattle can. And I want to see how much of a true representation of the rattle can it is.
Yep.
Because it'll be handy for touching up my MDF as my MDF scores and beats and everything else. Then the other paint I got was one called Tungsten Steel. And the reason I bought it is because it's a nice dark gunmetal colour.
Yep.
And metallics are notoriously fucking terrible.
Paul says, did you tell you I'm getting into the paints ranges? I'm going to have pandy paints. Oh dear, not you as well, Paul. But so David used this paint and lo and behold, it's actually quite good.
It's fucking exceptional. One coat coverage over a zenithal for the metal that you saw on Freya earlier, boys and girls. It's fucking insane.
Now
consistency is good.
Yep.
Consistency is very good. It's quite liquidy compared to Vallejo, particularly in the model color. Like the model color metallics are always quite thick. The TT stuff is quite thin. The only criticism I will have of the TT bottle is the neck is quite narrow and small. It's quite a thin neck, so I can see possibly over time it backing up and getting blocked. Let me just see if I can pick this up and show you this on stream for you boys and girls. So let me just take the lid off.
While David's doing that, I've searched...
There you go. So that's Vallejo this side versus the TT. It's about half the diameter at the top.
Okay, and
roughly.
Basically, there are virtually no YouTube videos that I can find covering this paint range. Okay, the one I've got shown here is by far and away the most comprehensive. This was when Blackjack Legacy used to do his live streams before he went to work to Mantic, and he basically does a 2.5 hour stream where he basically paints with about 8 of the paints on different models just to see
he gets the red out, the gold out, and some other stuff,
the creams and the metallics. So it's a fairly good job. He's really impressed by them. There's a terrible 10-minute video by some I think they're basically like a
Den of Imagination.
They're a paint studio, aren't they? They basically do commission painting, but it's a terrible video and there's hardly any detail in it. They basically cover the narrow neck issue that David says and said they have a few blockages. They do say they have a bit of a feature piece where they show the paints being used to do freehand, and they've got a beautiful consistency and coverage and control for doing that. But I was just like, the more we looked into it, and then with David's personal experience, they're like, fuck, these paints are actually quite good, but nobody ever talked about them. So, do any of you, if you have used
the biggest
TT
problem
Combat's
is the availability.
Yeah, I
The
guess that.
availability of them is difficult.
Is it
They're
just
not as
TT
commonplace,
Direct?
are they?
Is it just TT Direct, or are they doing
TT
third party?
Direct, you can get them at Goblin, I want to say.
So they're doing
but
them
they
through
had a
third
lot of.
parties.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be an interesting call to action for everybody. If you've used these paints, just comment below. What did you think? Because I wonder if there are, because I don't think they're massively expensive. They seem to be competitively
They're a
priced.
really competitive price.
Now the only other thing I can think is that where you can buy stuff is a huge thing, Cheese Me. The only other thing is, like, they said that the narrow tip, everybody, both the videos I watched said that the advantage of the narrow tip is reduced waste, because you get smaller beading, so you can get less paint.
Yeah.
On, if you only need to literally do a couple of faces, you're not losing 0.5 mil of paint. You just literally, you've got more control about how much you give.
Yeah.
And there's no
agitators. That
agitators.
is the other way of looking at it.
There is no agitators
Yeah, there
in
is
them.
no agitators.
But again, both Blackjack and the other channel said that it wasn't an issue and they didn't have problems.
No, one thing I will say is, compared to Vallejo, because of how thin they are, I don't think they need agitators.
No, and
they're quite a creamy consistency.
Yeah.
Do not clip that, for fuck's sake, boys and girls.
Night, Rich. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if you've used them, comment below. I'm thinking I might get some. Because I haven't bought into the game color range, and this seems to me like it might be a really good add-on. I was thinking Army Painter Fanatic, the new ones, but I'm thinking maybe these instead. I don't know. They really have caught my attention. So, but yeah, that was quite interesting. So I thought we'd share that. Just another couple of quick ones. Ninjon has done. Again, Ninjon's done another non-Games Workshop video. Good on fucking Ninjon. He's doing Infinity this time. So yeah, hardly a game nobody's ever heard of. But it's just great to see him doing non-GW stuff. He does painting videos in a really in a really accessible way. In terms of the pro painting content, I got a lot more time for Ninjon than everybody else that's doing the stuff.
Ignore me shuffling.
And his video painting was a fantastic model as well. The Daiokai Dengekitai, to give it its full name.
JSA stuff.
It is, yeah. That's another thing. He's a JSA player. Good JSA. It does a fantastic job on it.
Question: when are we seeing Global Campaign this year?
Don't know is the answer, mate. And last quick mention is, again, MS Paints. Yet another fantastic non-Games Workshop. This video is about as fucking niche as it gets. So this game, Bonefields, I think it is essentially an old school miniature skirmish game in the style of like the Mordheim era, so like 90s era Games Workshop.
Nice.
I think it was made by the chap who's just gone to Mantic, Needy Cat. I can't remember his name, but you guys know who I mean. He's got an initial. Who's that guy? Who's the guy who did the Needy Cat games and did the?
I ain't got a fucking clue.
Anyway, him. He kickstarted it, and I think he's passed it on to somebody else who's doing aftermarket support. The details, anyway, are in Dave MS Paint's video. Cool little game, great little skirmish war game. That's him, James. I still can't remember the rest of his name, but yes, that is him, James and Sophie, Paul. So yeah, that is the news or the internet as we've been experiencing it this week. Mostly, I have been experiencing rewatching all of Mr. Welch's Miss Star of videos. James L. Hewitt,
Oh,
thank you.
oh! I tell you what I
Jimmy
saw as well.
Somerville.
I tell you what I saw that I didn't realise was a thing.
Yeah.
August 29th, Rings of Power Season 2 arrives.
Yay. Are you being in any way ironic, or are you being serious?
No, I'm being serious.
Oh, okay.
I quite enjoyed Rings of Power. I know I was probably about the only one out there that did.
Yeah. I watched 3 episodes.
And it's rumoured we're going to get Fallout Season 2 quicker than we expected.
Yeah,
because they're jumping on the fact that every man and his dog is currently playing Fallout.
Yeah, and they've started. So Toros is with you, mate.
On it.
Maybe no. It looks like I might be the odd man out who managed to do 3 episodes before the eye-rolling load of old nonsense got the better of me. Yeah, so maybe it's just me. Yeah, Fallout. Yeah, I've seen some of the stills that have been sort of like put out to add to sort of like hype it. So yeah, and by all accounts, it's been well received.
That's too thick.
For critics and people who've got the inside track. So yeah, that should be good fun. I certainly would watch the Fallout second series. I was lukewarm on the first. It was okay, but I did watch all of it. One like Rings of Power, where like I was 3 episodes in, I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
You're pussy.
But interestingly, Toros, in the context of somebody who enjoyed it, would you describe yourself as a Tolkien nerd or just a Tolkien casual? And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I mean that as in somebody who's like explored the role-playing games and the card games and knows everything, or just somebody who enjoyed the bloody Steve Jackson movies and oh yeah. Well, Toros, let's not get into this. Might not be the live stream. In fact, I'll pencil that in as a topic. Lord of the Rings is a load of old tosh, as written prose. Discuss. Because
there will be an assessment that week, and you will have homework to do. We will be expecting 5,000-word essays.
Yeah, fucking Tolkien, world builder, historian, creative imagination, genius. Could he write prose? Jury's out. Novelist. Academic. Novelist.
Yeah.
Just my 2 cents. Anyway, that's it. We're done. Let's go on to nearly 10 minutes
Main
late.
topic.
Oh no, Darren loves the book. That's it. I've scarred Darren. Well, good for you, mate. No, okay. Yeah, Toros played Merp. Okay, so do you know what? That's interesting, mate. So even though you're a bit of a hardcore, because again, I played Merp, had all the source books, all the Iron Crown stuff, played the Middle Earth card game, so was immersed in all the fucking wider world shit. The real niche crap out of hello Tim. All the niche crap out of Silmarillion and Unlost Tales and all that stuff. But yeah, for me, the TV show from Amazon just wasn't. It didn't do it for me.
Yes.
But each to their own. Horses for their courses, as we say. Anyway, let's get stuck into tonight's topic. But before we do, I am going to actually put some fucking paint on a model. Otherwise, I'm going to feel a total fraud. So, what do we think then? Do we go with an orangey brown? Something like red leather?
You do you.
Let's start with a red leather.
Don't let them tell you how to paint your models.
Well, no, it's not letting them, mate. I'm asking them, you loon. I I
Make it
haven't.
up as you go along. That's what I'm doing.
I haven't used any of these for ages. Let's go.
How's Horsey?
Let's do Scarlet as well. So we'll do some sort of Scarlet red leather shenanigans here, and we'll see how it goes. We're probably going to do. Let's do this coat Scarlet and just go mad. So let's have a sip of my Pepsi Max.
Do you reckon I need to do his hair anymore?
Amazon suck, says Paul. Darren, he's flashing us. Watered down red leather is great for rust. Good tip. What, thinned almost to a glaze, Toros? Noted, mate. I might try that on some of my bolt action stuff. Good shout. I am painting some Wild West Exodus models, Tim.
Do I need to go a bit?
I know I'm supposed to. I know we're supposed to be doing. I can't do that. It doesn't work. I know we're supposed to be doing terrain, but I'm cheating because I haven't got any of my terrain stuff here that I want to paint. And I wanted to do some airbrush priming. See beginning of stream that you weren't here for. So I'm instead painting the character models for the lawman from the first 2-player starter set for Wild West Exodus back in first edition, which I think were Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp. Google Foo will tell you whether I'm a lying twat or not. So the social contract. What do we mean by the social contract?
It's sort of written in blood, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's written in the blood of those that break it. Okay. So the first thing to say is the social contract. Tim is saying you still need to have pictures on the wall. Toros has shouted out, do you know what, Toros? Nobody's put, even Darren's let us down. He's doing some housekeeping and sorting.
I'm sorry, Tim. I thought you would be at home in a
Tim's
nice blank room. The only thing that it's missing is a shower head. Too soon?
Oh dear. Yeah, he needs. You've got Spam there. Spam. He needs to. You want to get some chintz up or some delicate flowery decorations.
Do you want to fuck off? I'll break your legs.
So the social contract. The first thing to say about all kinds of hobby gaming, and this applies to wargaming, role-playing games, or board games, which are the 3 main branches. Put in the chat if we've missed any. They involve other people to a large extent. Now there are increasingly ways to play these games solo. Board games have probably got there first, but even role-playing games, solo role-playing games, however the fuck that's supposed to work, is getting more and more vogue. Darren will tell
solo board games.
So Darren will tell us all about solo miniatures war games, like 5 Leagues from the Borderlands and 5 Parsecs. Although the solo thing is becoming, probably following the COVID debacle, it's becoming a wider thing. The vast majority of us still experience hobby gaming, whatever your flavour, as a social experience with other people. And
your vibrator's a bit loud, Paul.
Yeah, I'm just using my Vortex mixer because I've not used this paint for forever and a fucking day, so I'm giving it a good old mix. So obviously when you've got that level of social interaction, it's important that everybody's on the same page in a lot of regard. And that is essentially what the social contract is. I mean, to quote somebody not famous who put it beautifully over in the On Tabletop Discord, just don't be a dick, is the gist of it. That was Toros
It-
for everybody else. at home.
Taurus in a nutshell.
Toros managed to sum the live stream up in about, what was it, 6 words? Don't be a dick. 4 words. So, but yeah, obviously, yeah. What does that mean? What does being a dick
entail?
mean? So, what David and I obviously were having a little bit of pre-stream chat and a little bit of a pre-stream plan, and really we put it. We thought there are loads of examples that we can give, but broadly they break down into 3 sort of categories. The first is the actual gaming side of it, or you could put it in sportsmanship. So not only Toros says, "Is it that right to the pub?" Yeah, well done. Is that it? So
goes over homework time, boys and girls.
So yeah, sportsmanship is the first category. So I'll go first. Obviously, as well as being a social interaction, you are playing a game and you are competing against other people. That may be friends that you know well, but they may be complete strangers. So
playing with strangers
in that way. So there are all sorts of pitfalls that can arise in that scenario. So, for example, just, statement of the obvious. When you're playing a game, obviously everybody likes to win, but one can play with one can bring one's A game to provide a challenge to your opponent and entertain everybody at the table, and to be fair, this is a breach of social contract both ways. If you bring your A game to the point where winning is all that matters and none of the other elements of the social interaction are, even on your radar,
you're only there to massage your ego.
Yeah, that you are. I can guarantee you are
fucking
going to
hell, Paul.
What?
I play with their wife, not you.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, so you are going to breach the social contract. If all that matters is you winning and you start basically just being really bullish, nitpicky, rules lawyering, even blatant fucking cheating.
Well, again, even just simple regards of rolling your dice and just picking them up before your opponent gets a chance to look at it.
Well, I'd call that fucking cheating. But then again, I call a spade, not a long-handled fucking digging implement. That is just fucking cheating. Do you know what I mean? Yes, but by the same token, don't play like you're a fucking 3-year-old. You're playing unless you are playing with a bunch of 3 to 5-year-olds and you're trying to entertain them with the latest children's Habba board game. In which case, obviously, do that. But if you're playing with another group of adults, nobody wants to see somebody sitting. Nobody wants that person sitting across from them going, "Oh, I don't know, I don't care. Just move me there. Just do that." Don't do that either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have entered into this social engagement, engage fully, but don't engage aggressively. Is that probably the best way I can put it?
If you know you're approaching the end of your tether and you're getting pissed off with something, be open and honest and say, "Look, can we just call again?" If you're losing and you know you're going to lose, be a gentleman and say, "Shall we just call it here? We can do something else."
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Again, I've done that in horrible lopsided games where by the end of turn 3 I can see my opponents about had enough. I'm just like, "Shall we just call it here?" You know, I have no desire to make you sit through the next 30 to 40 minutes of misery. So we'll just call it here. Again, so that's my first offering. So under sportsmanship, sort of like moderating your gaming ability or your level of participation so that it matches the other people that you're playing against, whether that be 1 or 3 or 4 players in the case of a board game. And in answer to you, Tim, yes, they're only there to do you harm.
I've got an input on this.
Go on then, your turn.
So, sportsmanship. If you're playing a game in a similar vein to what Paul's just said, you might be know the rules inside out. This might be somebody's 5th or 6th game. They're struggling to grasp with their army, or they're playing something new.
Yeah.
Paul's already touched on rules lawyering. Don't fucking got your moment. There's no need for it.
Yeah.
Telegraph it, explain it. It will help the other player learn. It will help the other player understand the game. As a social contract, I hate got your moments.
Yeah.
I really, really fucking hate got your moments with a passion. I would rather sit there telling somebody what is about to go down and what's about to happen. So, prime example was the other week with Gaslands. I realised how I could win the game. I told Dan how I could win the game so that Dan could do it, because I did not want to be the person to got you and win the game that way.
Yeah.
And he turned around and said, well, I don't want to do the same to you. And it's like, at this point, Dan, we're both sort of just chipping away at it. Shall we just, you do that, we'll call it, and we're done. Do you know what I mean? It links so well with what we've just said.
Yeah. But again, you had an adult conversation about it. I'll be honest. Now, here's a bit of a confession, right? David and I are probably going to talk for the next 40 minutes about various things to do with the social contract. And I, first of all, do not want to give the impression that David and I are paragons of or perfect representatives of the social contract in action. There are behaviours that we will talk about tonight that I am victim of or have done in the past and still struggle with because of aspects of my temperament. So, you know, we're not being high and mighty or holy in there at all with this. But one thing I will say is this idea of gotchas this one is a huge fucking one for me. And again, the other side of it, the other part of the gotcha thing is I hate winning a game that way. So like, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't only apply to new players, right? So a good example for me is not Carnivale, Malifaux. Malifaux is a very fiddly game. When you play Malifaux, little details matter so fucking much. And because every card has 1,000 things written on it, there is, unless your opponent is literally the biggest Malifaux player in the fucking world, there's a good chance that they won't realise that you can push this model with that model so that it can engage them and then fight here, and then it will do this area effect and damage all these other 4 models around it. And if ever I've got anything like that, the turn before or whatever, I will say, just to warn you, this model, when it charges, can go through terrain. So being behind that isn't going to help you.
Sitting there and telegraphing it.
You know what I mean?
I mean, again, I've done it before, similarly with like Alex and Flames. I'm like, not suggesting that certain moves are a bad thing, but it's like, are you sure about that? Because I'm here and I can assault out this building and you won't get an Overwatch. And he's like, oh shit, yeah. And again, part of the social contract, allow takebacks if you're telegraphing bits and pieces.
Yeah, I mean, there are all sorts of obvious elements to good sportsmanship that form ultimately it's the good sportsmanship, I guess, that forms the basis of the social contract. But what we're doing is just offering examples of what that means in practice and implementation.
Yeah.
Have we got another example?
I'll tell you another good example here of good sportsmanship. If neither of you can decide on how a rule should be played, because the rule book is clear as mud, and you've got some disagreement between the two of you, let a dice decide it and look it up properly after. Just play the game, get your timing, get your gaming done, then go back and look at it.
And do you know what? I have a slightly different philosophy or rule for me. I tell you what I do. If there is anything particularly where you might be in or out of range by a quarter of an inch, or is that 4 inches or is that 5 inches or whatever? Do you know what I do? I always say to my opponent, it's your decision. I'm not that invested. If you decide whether that's in or out, you decide which of the options.
I know what you mean on that one.
And I hand autonomy for that to my opponent, because again, it's about how do I want to win the game? I want to win the game on my way.
Of course, Crispin measures from the fucking balls. Is that the only way you can get full length?
So yeah, I mean, again, same idea. Obviously, again, it comes down to this idea of not control. You're not there to control the agenda. You're not there to control the environment. It's a social thing. You're both, or more. If there's more than one of you, all of you are there to participate and have fun. So if you're one of those, again, if you're the person who's played the game for 10 years and there is a rational explanation why the rule works that way, that's fine. But do you know what? If something's in question or in doubt, randomize it or give the other people some agency. Let them feel that their participation matters.
I know I don't really want to reference Gaslands here as a good example of it, but Gaslands covers it really well in their rule book of, no, if you can't agree on it, always go for the thing that's going to cause the most damage.
Yeah.
The rule of carnage. Like, again, because it's spelled out from the start, it's like you can always fall back on that as a group of players of, well, look, it should be the most devastating thing. So we'll do that.
So that's that.
What
pretty
game has
much
rules that don't change for 10 years? Looking at what's it called? Bolt action. Bolt action was nearly 10 years, wasn't it?
More time.
Old school Blood Bowl before they rebooted it.
Yeah. Can we think of any others?
Drop Zone, nearly.
Oh, good shout.
Drop Zone's coming up for nearly 10 years now.
What is that?
Fuck off, Moth.
The Battle for Earth edition.
Yeah.
There you go, Tim. You see.
Fucking told you.
So that's sportsmanship. One of the other elements of the social contract. I'll put it under the broad umbrella of hobby, I guess. I'm trying to remember what the three were now. Can you remember? Sportsmanship, hobby.
Sportsmanship, hobby, because there was time management and stuff. I can't remember, honestly, mate.
Oh, I think it was like that sort of like social commitment stuff, wasn't it? So yeah, anyway, hobby. Now, some games don't have a huge amount of requirement or input in terms of hobby endeavors. So, with most board games, particularly if there's no miniatures, all you need to do is buy the board game, pop the counters out, or whatever, and just play.
Yeah, but it's not third yet, Tim. It's not 3rd till the end of September.
Is Tim saying you've got another edition coming?
Yeah.
So, but even with a board game, right? Okay, when you're playing that board game, that's somebody else's stuff. Okay, so when you're playing with their toys, to put it in its most fucking blunt,
basic terminology.
Yeah, basic way. Treat them with respect. Don't fucking get your kebabby sauced fingers,
greasy fingers all
over their
cards.
cardstock. Particularly if they're not running with card sleeves, as many people don't bother with, because unless they're utter obsessives like myself and David.
Right, don't you be lumping me with that, because I'm running unsleeved cards.
Oh my god, heresy! And I bet you don't even use capsule counters for your fucking cardboard, do you?
No, I don't. Stop splitting hairs, you undecorated hobby room. Also, what about Assassin's Creed? No, Tim, you are missing a word in that sentence. It's pedant. So fuck you.
So yeah. Again, if you're playing a miniatures war game, whose terrain is it? You know, if it's not yours, maybe be careful with it. Treat it with respect, as if it was yours. And even if you don't treat your own stuff with respect, treat it with respect, because it's some other fuckers. So,
Brown, probably.
Yeah. As I say,
mid one, possibly.
It's all part of the social contract. You're interacting with another person, but you're also interacting with another person's belongings.
So here's
some of which, frankly, may be fucking damn expensive, or even have hundreds of hours of fucking painting endeavour and that put into them.
Something I said to you in the pre-stream.
Yep.
Like, between me and Paul, the social contract is we're playing a new game. Paul likes to play with fully painted miniatures. So I will make a conscious effort to at least get some base coats on my miniatures so that Paul's playing against a semi-painted army, not playing against a load of grey plastic. Because Paul gets enjoyment from that. In another vein, you've got the what you see is what you get and the proxies. Certain people like to play with proxies. It's applicable to a degree for a period of time. But at some point, you like Frostgrave now because you've played 5 or 6 games of it, or you like Carnivale because you've played 5 or 6 games of it. Bite the bullet and play. Get some stuff.
Buy the things instead of constantly running those that guild starter set as, I want to run as doctors this week, and this is this, and this is this, this is it. After you've done that for the 3rd week, you obviously like that doctor's crew. Just go and buy it.
Yeah.
Okay. Just do that.
What's inappropriate, Darren? Is it cupping the balls?
Oh my god. What about Assassin's Creed? Fucking hell, Jesus. Do you know what, Tim? You're just a bad influence, you are. Things were going... Everybody was on their best behaviour, with the possible exception of Crispin, till you came along. I was coming back to... I was just thinking David's painted models thing, right? This is one that can be quite contentious, but I would say that this is a bit like the bringing the correct level of attitude towards the gameplay, as in don't be a fucking power gaming twat and don't be a child and not want to be there. The same applies to the hobby side, the painting side of it, okay? Do not start berating your opponent or trying to humiliate or run down your opponent because, oh, that's not very well painted, is it? Fucking hell, what did you do that with your eyes closed? Or fucking hell, haven't you painted haven't you got any paint on any of this? You've had these fuckers for 2 years.
There's 2 inches of glue on this Infinity miniature because they're dainty as fuck.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And the joint is just play. Don't
even if
criticise.
that person, do you know what? If that person hasn't put any paint on their models, if they haven't just put empty bases down, at least they assembled them. Do you know what I mean?
And at
Before
least you're
you
not
start
playing with,
going
at least you, again,
roasting
at
them.
least you're not playing War Machine in the old
Yeah,
days where you were playing with bases.
Yeah, the 40mm base. Look, I put little stickers on it. That's the fucking war. That's the War Machine, and that's the support, and that's my fucking no. Just so, do you know what? Just again, the social contract comes both ways. But at the same time, maybe you don't particularly enjoy the hobby that much. But do you know what? If you put your models together properly and get a few colours down on them, nobody wants you to be fucking Crystal Brush winner, Golden Demon, fucking standard.
Contender.
But a good opponent will be like, do you know what? That's lovely. Do you know what I mean? That's great.
The maiden effort. Effort.
I mean, our table, you guys were very complimentary about our Carnivale table. David and I look at that and we just think, oh, that's not painted. But that's our table. we can be fucking hard on it as we like. But
Paul,
again,
we're not trying to attack. This is not a stream about attacking. It's a stream about talking about it, because again, certain people.
Paul says he's starting to feel attacked. Paul, looking at the fucking standard of terrain and miniatures you bring to your demo games at fucking shows, I don't know why you're feeling attacked. Not on this topic. Jesus Christ, mate. Obviously, unless you're talking about your personal play, which we haven't seen. Carry on, David. Sorry.
But again, it's an all-encompassing hobby. It's about all the aspects. People get different levels of enjoyment out of it. It's a similar vein to, I know we've already said about showmanship, but for example, if you're, I've said it before, like there's a few guys at club, and hats off to them, they play competitive 40k. If I'm going to play 40k, I will have the discussion beforehand and get us all on the same page of, is this a friendly game? Are we just bringing some random stuff, or are we bringing like a tourney list? Knowing what standard of gameplay to expect before I rock up.
Yeah, because they do actually go to events, so they've got skills, haven't they?
Sort of, is again worth pointing out so that we're all on the same page.
Yeah,
so that we're all getting the same level of enjoyment from this.
Just so we know, I'm bringing my 8th edition Salamanders collection.
Yeah.
But yeah. So as I say, the painting thing, again, the painting thing is slightly specific towards miniature wargaming, but it could apply to board gaming. There's a lot more board games have now paintable pieces in them.
Or again, it's just, again, if you're going to bring a board game, make sure everything's prepped, at least like popped out and ready, and you know roughly where everything is for setup.
Do you know what? That is a very good shout, because as I say, because that's another part of the social contract. Don't say to 3 or 4 people, oh, do you want to play my new board game? Then you start to set it up and you realise you've lost half the components, because last time you played with it, you didn't pack it away properly or whatever. It's like, again, it's a social exercise. People are putting their trust in you. They're putting their faith in you to, okay, so you're going to bring your game. You're going to show us how to play. Oh, yeah, shit, it's missing, or I've lost the rule book, or I can't remember this bit. It's like, again, to be fair, do you know what? Talking about this,
it actually links quite well with what we did Saturday night with Spam.
Yeah.
As an example. Spam wanted to try Carnivale, play Carnivale. Me and Paul purposefully left out the reaction rules, much to Paul's detriment, because me and Sam bought fucking guns to a knife fight and fucked the vampires.
Did make it a little bit tricky, but, you know, we did okay.
But at the same time, we did say, like, and we said to Sam, there is this other aspect of the game. We're not touching on it because there's already enough moving parts here.
Yeah.
Before we add this in, but just bear it in mind that next time there might be this.
Yeah, and it's like it worked out really well in that you and Sam didn't have to work out were worry about
Agendas.
agendas and secondary objectives.
Yeah.
Because they were sort of like they were not something your players, your warbands had.
No,
which was
Spam got to see
a happy little accident, wasn't it?
Spam got to see it because you had them.
Yeah.
But again,
she didn't have to worry about them herself, which, like you say, was ideal. Oh, I've lost my thread. What were we talking about?
Time commitments is another one. Hey, GB.
So yeah, the other sort of umbrella topic. I feel that there's something else that I was going to say. Oh yeah, that's it. We were talking about the idea that you are training or showing other people how to play a game. Again, like, part of the social contract is that somebody says to you, "Oh, I'm really keen to try this game, but I don't have any of it. You know, I can see you've played it before. Do you have the models and that to show me how to do it? Blah blah blah." If ever I am asked to do that at the club, and again, it's something that I get asked to do a lot. Number one, because I'm over 50, so I've played a lot of fucking games for a lot of years. And B, I'm an absolute fucking magpie, so I can't stop buying shit. But it doesn't matter who asks me or why or when. The Sunday before, or at least the morning before that club, I will be rereading the rules, watching a video on YouTube, refreshing my memory, getting all the fucking cobwebs swept out, because I owe the person that I'm showing the game to, I mean, what is the point of me introducing somebody to a new game? You want to
give them the best experience that you can, so that they go away and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And yes, that is different for me and you as demonstrators versus, say, somebody that's already invested in it. But at the same time, there are aspects there that even if you've just put a new list together for 40k, and I know I keep coming back to 40k, but it's the prime example because it changes every 35 fucking seconds.
Slight exaggeration, but we know what you meant.
Well, no, it's fucking not, is it? Let's be honest. Any GW product changes every 30 seconds. But if you're putting a new list together, or you've got some variants and some things that have changed up, just get your head round them.
Oh,
so you're on your game for your army that you are bringing.
Do you know what? I've just had an idea. I've done this rather nice scarlet coat that you guys won't be able to see on this model, and I've just thought I might do a red, white, and blue American thing. So do like his
red deck, tan and blue. Red deck, tan and blue.
Yeah, that's what I was. An off-white deck tan might be a good shout to do his gloves and cowboy hat and strapping. Yeah, let's try that.
His strap on.
Yeah, his strap on.
I've just finished Freya, boys and girls.
Yeah, no, I mean, Darren says there also, if you're introducing somebody. No, we had a few technical difficulties at the beginning, Tim. Don't worry, mate. We always deliver. When it comes to cock ups, when it comes to cock ups, we've always got our cock up.
The model itself, GB, is Freya from Mythic Battles Ragnarok, so it's a board game. Really nice god sculpt. I'll show it off towards the end of the stream.
What I'll do is I'll swing my mobile around in a minute, and we can show off what we've been painting as people. We'll do a final show at the end. So the last sort of little category that we had for things that might fall under the auspices of the social contract is things like social, for want of a better phrase, social considerations. So
again, if you've committed to a game and you penciled in for a game, we get life comes up, we get that stuff gets cancelled or things have to change. Totally aware of that. Everybody has a life outside of the hobby. Flip side, give your opponent enough opportunity so that they can reschedule or they can do something else instead.
Again,
don't message them 15 minutes before when they're already on their way to club going, actually, I can't make it. Yeah. Unless, obviously, something has literally just come up.
I mean, example, obviously, if the reason you can't make it is because you crashed your car on the way to club, legit. But, again, it's to quote the famous Toros, just don't be a dick. Yeah. We all have very complicated lives. We have families, we have jobs, we have priorities that, oddly enough, might be more important than playing toy soldiers or fucking card games with your mates. Legit. But bear this in mind. Bear in mind, when shit is going south and you're under pressure and your social calendar's going all over the place, just think about those other people who are sort of relying or have got you worked into their plans. Just zap them a message. Can't make it this week. You're gonna have to sit this one. I'm gonna have to sit this one out, guys. Run the session without me. Whatever. Just let them know. Again, just normal social shit. Hi, hello to GB Models. Hello to Damon. Good to see you guys lurking in the chat.
Damon's just hit the fucking nail on the head. Important part of the social contract at a war game, deodorant.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that is a very good point because, when you're playing with friends, that's one thing. But when you're playing with strangers at what might be a public venue, like a gaming club or a shop even, just personal hygiene and shit like that, guys. And do you know what? Even your demeanour. I am a pretty foul-mouthed bastard, and with people I know and I'm relaxed and comfortable with, I will be a foul-mouthed, sarcastic bastard. But again, the social contract for hobby gaming, it perhaps shouldn't be as strict or stringent as your work environment. It depends on what your work environment is. That's unique to everybody. But you do have to bear this stuff in mind. Do you know what I mean?
Again, I know it might be... That's fucking rain. I need to pull that window to in a second before we get wet. But there's a point here as well of be welcoming. Yes, you might have a clique. Yes, you might be playing with your friends. But there's the other aspect, particularly at like a club, etc., of saying hello to other people, asking what other people are doing if something piques your interest. Not spending 3/4 of your game night when you're playing with somebody at a different table, being invested. I'm going to pull that window too. I'm just going to take my...
Do you know what? I've got a great ending for the show, I think. Right? Just before we show everybody our desktop cams so they can see the models we've been working on and what progress we've made, what about we both sort of confess to what we think are our two weakest, or the ways in which we probably break the social contract, or at least snub the social contract. Do you want me to go first?
No, I was going to say, I'll go first, based on the one that I just said about saying hello to other people.
Yep.
And that kind of thing. I take the money for club. And it's a massive thing at club. That obviously I'm the one taking the payments for going for the rooms and everything else. Quite often, I will just turn around if I'm midway through a game and invested with the person I'm gaming with and say, look, I'm busy and I'm quite short and sharp. Just come back at the end. Do you know what I mean?
I do know exactly what you mean. I do know exactly what you mean.
I don't necessarily have time for other people when I'm invested in the game.
Yeah.
Or when I'm thinking and concentrating. Like, I'm very blinkered and invested in what I am doing. Everything else around me can just fuck off for a while.
Yep.
Well, so that's my first one.
Do you know what? My first one is going to be exactly the same thing. And I would say that I'm not saying that I don't have there are not times when I fall foul of the other elements of the social contract, but I think, like you, one of my two biggest is when I am engrossed in a game, I am engrossed in a game. And if
Yeah.
people can come up behind me and say, "Oh, evening guys, what you doing?" and it's probably 50-50 whether I even hear them, let alone even answer. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but that's because you're a
And
deaf old bastard.
yeah, but again, it's still behaviour that isn't really very fair to other people, and certainly isn't anything to be encouraged or, it's nothing to be proud of. And so for me, mate, that's really weird you saying that, because my first one was going to be exactly the same thing. So have you got another one?
Well, you've just copped out. So what's your second?
My second one is I still get frustrated with lopsided games. Particularly if I feel that they are running away because of nothing anybody could do anything about. So it's
bad
randomness.
decisions.
And I get really tetchy, and I get really disinterested. And it's still something that I can fall foul of, particularly if I try something, like you say, if I'm trying a new system and like half an hour in, I just think this is random bollocks. Why this isn't even a game? And I don't mask it very well.
Well, again, you only have to look at like the first Flames game we played, where it made no fucking sense to either of us.
No, it was just a bad scenario for first players.
The second Flames game, you got more switched on to.
Yeah.
But you were comparing it to 40k, and for obvious reasons, because it is still a 3-roll game.
But again, it's like it doesn't. None of that matters. Again, you've got to think of your opponent. If you're having a shit time because of your reasons, okay, your reasons might be you actually don't like this game. But even if it's a game that you're not particularly enjoying, somebody might have put a hell of a lot of work into setting up a situation where you could try it. So being churlish about it isn't big or clever. And I would still say it's one of my top. When I go home and I say to myself, Paul, you were a twat tonight. Why did you do that? It's still one of them.
I've got similar to you, but I don't want to cop out. My similar to you is dice probabilities and odds. Like, I will happily launch a fucking dice across the room because it's rolled me nothing but ones.
Yeah.
Yes, it's childish. Yes, it's petty. But I will happily fucking do it.
Do you know what?
I'm making a conscious effort lately to just bitch and moan about dice probabilities and not launch my fucking dice across the room.
Yeah.
But there's that. But I don't want to cop out and go with a similar one to you this time.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say is actually prep. Because I have so much going on in my life.
Yeah.
I quite often don't prep for games. I will just rock up.
Well, your last couple of Gaslands,
pull it out of my ass while I'm going. Again, Gaslands, I've managed to lose my rule book, lose my dice. Not a fucking clue where they are.
But the thing is as well, like, and again, you've like, it's not that you've managed to lose them, but it's you've managed to turn up to the game and, I've got my dice.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's fair, mate. Yeah. So there you go. As we said, we still do this shit. We still, treat the social contract not with contempt, but play fast and loose with it. And do you know what? It's always something. We're all human beings. It's always something you're going to have to work on. You're not going to get it right all of the time. But, the social contract is huge. And I know that a lot of hobby gaming is moving into the digital space now with things like Tabletop Simulator and role-playing games, these virtual tabletop things. But ultimately, it's still social interaction, even if it's remote social interaction. And a lot of this stuff still applies. So
Yes.
Shall we
I
come down to?
I don't think it's something that it's not something to be treated with disdain. It's an important part of the hobby, I think. So yeah, your camera's probably set ready to go. So you show,
Yeah.
and not only that, your stuff frankly is way more impressive than mine. So you can show everybody what the hell you've been painting on.
Freya is now finished. So he is now done. I've done his grey boots, his grey sword sheath, the bronze on elements, picked out his fur-lined jacket, his blonde hair, painted the fucking plant that runs up his leg in a green but just slightly different to the main green of his cape, and it looks nice. So he is now done. I've now just got Scardy to do by Monday, and I've got the basing to do on them both. But I think the hull red has come out really nice on his sash. That's come out really nice. And the blonde hair, yes, it is. Focus, you twat. Focus. There we go. His blonde hair is quite similar to his fur, but there's not a lot I can do about that.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's what we've said before, mate. Using similar colour tones with separation is totally acceptable. You could have done him with black hair, grey hair, white hair, but do you really want to add another tone or shade element to that palette? Why not recycle some of the colours you've already got there? Because it again, restraint
has got Khal Drogo base coated, or Khal Drogo's horse base coated.
Oh, I like it. I love that colour. That is such a good colour.
So that's what Spam's got up to tonight.
So
what about you? What
as usual, obviously I'm a waffler, so I haven't done too much. But I've got the jacket painted in the scarlet colour, which I'm really liking. And I've decided to go for the white with the gloves and the Stetson. It's deck tan actually. And then I'm going to carry that through. Most of the metallics on this, I'm using like a brass motif rather than doing too much steel. I'll probably do like a steel and metallics on the gun, but like the shield, all of his shoulder pads and the rivets on his hat and all of his
not bronze. Bronze is all of the steampunk.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go brass because I've done it for the whole army and I'm really liking the look of it. Plus the fact because I'm null noiling stuff, it's really killing it. It's knocking it right hard down. So yeah. I'm really pleased with the red, white, and blue motif. I think that's going to look super baller. I'm almost tempted to try some sort of freehand on this coat because I haven't done any freehand for ages. So if anybody's, I'm thinking like an American Eagle head, if I could pull it off, would be fucking amazing.
It would be baller as fuck.
I'm not quite sure if I'm feeling brave though. Give me some encouragement in the comments if you're watching this later on YouTube.
Do it.
Right. What we do? We've got 3 minutes, so that just gives me time to wrap up. Let's get rid of this mobile before I knock everything flying, because it's in my face. Right. Okay, guys. Paul says do it. Do you know what I might? Because I was playing Old World with V the other day, and I've got old orc models from the 80s that form part of my Fantasy Battles armies. Because I've got an old banner that I freehanded. It's a really simple motif. It's like a row of orc teeth with crossed axes over it. And he said that it was quite good, and I'm like, no, it's not really. It's awful. But it was such a nice thing for him to say. I thought, do you know what? I should probably have another go. I don't do freehand very often. You guys know me. I don't do hard mode, but maybe I should try again and do something with that. Right. So, hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much for all you guys. So, first of all, let's thank everybody in the chat. These are the real stars of the show. Without these guys, we'd just be a couple of idiots talking to ourselves.
On the internet.
Yeah, so absolutely legendary. Thanks to them. It's too hot, so thank you for giving us
way too fucking hot.
Thank you for giving us your attention, whether it's here tonight live or later on YouTube. If you can only find time to do one thing, please click the like button. It only takes a second, and that helps push us in the YouTube algorithm a little bit. We've had some real lift with our watches recently for the bolt action coverage, and it's brought in a few more regular viewers, which we are eternally grateful for.
I know you're winding up, but can I get salty a minute, please?
Oh no!
Because we didn't get salty about it in the news.
Guys, we need a new hashtag. Fake ending.
For those that
hashtag
have
fake
seen,
ending.
obviously they've changed and modified, taken all the saves out to their own thing, put cover over there. They did a teaser for all the modifiers the other week. Now, for special rules, we now get more modifiers. So if you're an anti-tank team shooting at a tank or an armoured personnel character, you get a +1 to hit. Thanks. So we're going to get way more fucking modifiers still to come that they're teasing and doing. And I didn't get salty about Creality. I'll get salty about Creality.
I thought that's what you were going to do. Funnily enough, I thought, we forgot to talk about bolt action. We'll probably cover the bolt action because no doubt there'll be a second article. We'll revisit bolt action next month. Next week rather. I forgot to put the article in because it was about keywords and stuff like that, wasn't it? The one.
Yeah.
This week.
And your anti-tank teams now get a +1 to hit and some other stuff. And just fuck off already.
Yeah. Whatever. We'll talk about it next week. So, are you not going to tell everybody about your 3D printing drama, or are we going to wait that?
No.
Can we end the stream now, please?
I'll rant next week about it. I won't keep you all because I'm probably going to go on for 5 to 10 minutes about it.
Jesus. Right. Okay, guys. Enjoy your week.
Fuckers.
Have some good games. Get some bloody hobby work done, you lazy bastards. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.